A big piece of our association's strategic roadmap calls on us to define question number 2, the concept of women around the world and what it means to be a global organization. For the first few years of our journey on the road to a 21st century organization, this question hasn't had the opportunity to ride in the front of the car. It was decided there were other strategic initiatives more pressing. In the past year, the board of directors has decided that the time is right to take on this question, reach out to our members, and lay out a map that could lead us to possible answers. Our board, and in particular the Global Continuum Committee of the board, have been our drivers on this road less traveled. We have started off by involving a number of other travelers, including league members, in the planning of our trip. I'd like to take just a few moments this morning to let you know how we're progressing. I think we can all agree that the most exciting part of planning a trip is imagining where it might take you. The board began this process 1 year ago at annual conference in San Francisco. We visited 3 organizations based in the Bay Area. At Room to Read, we learned about engaging volunteers and partners around the world to impact children in developing countries. Our next stop was Wikimedia, the nonprofit behind Wikipedia. That's a little confusing to say. It was a powerful example of global collaboration and the impact that can be achieved by bringing together organizations, clubs, chapters, and communities around the world. Finally, we visited The Hub, a physical space to bring change makers together in a combination of business incubator and innovation lab. Over 25 hubs exist in the world, linking more than 4,000 members. The board of directors saw some incredible things happening at these 3 organizations. They made us dream about what was possible, where AJLI might go, and it made us anxious to start planning our own adventure. As with most road trips, you start on the street where you live. As you know, international has been part of our name since 1989. Today, we have 8 leagues that exist outside the United States, 5 in Canada, 2 in Mexico, and 1 in the UK. So in our case, the street where we lived involved reaching out to the leadership of those 8 leagues to find out about their successes and challenges in affiliating with an organization based in the United States. One of the key things we learned is that both US and non-US leagues have far more in commonalities than differences. Leagues across the association are making impacts in their community, providing top quality leadership training for women, and offering a ready source of trained volunteers to any number of local charitable causes. In addition, non-US leagues face a number of the same challenges that resonate throughout our association, including those related to membership recruitment and retention and securing stable funding. We had a few aha moments as well. First, we learned that the concept of volunteerism varies widely across countries and cultures. This gave us a yellow light to really think about what we have to offer the women of the world if they interpret a key component of our mission in a different way than we do. In addition, we gained a much greater appreciation of the sensitivity that's required of the board, the staff, and fellow member leagues to truly incorporate non-US leagues into our association. These may be as simple as acknowledging holidays recognized in other countries to things more complex like varying tax laws and the need for language translations. We had successfully navigated our own neighborhood by taking a look around our association and seeing what already exists, and we were ready to venture out onto a busier street. At this point, we thought we might need a bit of GPS assistance. A global positioning system serves 2 purposes. First, you find out what possible routes you may take to your destination. Second, you find out where you're pinpointed right now in the world. The committee chose Plexus Consulting to serve as our GPS for this part of the trip. Plexus is a Washington, D.C.-based firm specializing in working with associations on global initiatives. Plexus set out to help us understand our possible pathways by asking our members to join in the journey, and I think probably some of you are in this room. In February, a survey was distributed to 10,000 randomly selected Junior League members from across all membership categories: provisional, active, and sustainer. We had a response rate of nearly 20%, which those of you in market research can attest is a high response rate to this type of research. The participants were asked about their level of interest in a variety of options for international involvement, ranging all along a continuum of choices. These ranged from very low involvement, like local training on international issues, to much higher involvement, like establishing junior leagues in other countries. We received a green light from our provisionals, mostly millennials, who consistently viewed every aspect of the continuum more highly than other members. And we really wanted to pay attention to that because those are our future. In addition to placing themselves on the continuum, members were asked about their own international experiences through travel, business, or other organizations. Respondents were also asked about the possibility of virtual membership, where members don't necessarily need to be tied to a physical junior league. There were some bright billboards along the street. First, we heard loud and clear that any global initiative must have local impact. We also began to understand from responders' comments that virtual membership may not necessarily be tied to internationalism. It could be available to women in current junior league countries who just don't happen to live near a league. I'm sure you can relate to that moment when you're using the navigation app and you need to pinch the screen to enlarge a portion of your route. That's usually when the arguing begins in our car, but that didn't happen here because we're junior leaguers and we're nice. So that pinching was exactly what we felt we needed to do for our route after we viewed the quantitative results of our survey. To help us bring our route into sharper focus, we enlisted the help of 16 junior league members from across the association who agreed to have a conversation with Plexus interviewers to allow us to ask more in-depth questions. These members helped us identify a few more specific signposts along our street. The interviewees had a fair amount of agreement that AJLI does need to find a path to global engagement to stay relevant to its future members, the millennial generation. The interviewees made us take a short detour around the block to make sure we really saw the billboard that said any global initiative must have local impact. And finally, they suggested several ways we could use the current vehicles we have to ease onto the global roadmap, on-ramp. These include technology to connect members, expansion of current successful association programming like Kids in the Kitchen, and investigating potential partners to expand our reach and capacity. As I mentioned, GPS also allows you to pinpoint your current place in the world. Plexus provided this service to us by providing a benchmarking survey in which they gave us in-depth analysis of 10 other organizations with some similarities to AJLI who also incorporate some kind of global component. Those organizations that were most successful with this have encouraged local action among chapters and affiliates tied to a broader global goal. These organizations also make extensive use of technology, social media, and online resources to connect their members across countries and continents. We are now headed toward the freeway in a car loaded with passengers, information, and excitement. There's also some baggage in the trunk. Our luggage is in the form of questions that we still need to answer before we hit the open road. Do we currently live up to the international in our name? Is defining women around the world a key element of staying relevant in a changing world? What is the most effective way to further engage members on this topic? Should a global approach be facilitated, or might it occur organically? What is the full range of options we may embrace? And what is AJLI's current or future capacity to cover this territory? We continue to pick up speed as we plot our road trip. We are not going to arrive at this destination in the near future. We're taking the scenic route. That's what my dad used to call it, the scenic route. We will continue to explore our route and gather the information we need to leave town. In the meantime, a wide world lays ahead of us. Where can we go? What can we see? How far might this journey take us?